Hey guys, it's Jalen. Welcome or welcome back. I'm here today to share with you my update for my Palette Love series. This is a series where I try to just work on the palettes in my collection because I have a lot of them and there are many that have not been used. So the goal is just to cycle through my palette collection and to bring in 5-ish palettes every month. And 4 of the palettes are random. The 5th one I typically choose. Now, I'm going to start by sharing with you the palettes that I worked on last month and my thoughts on them. But I am going to switch things up a little bit this month because I'm not going to have an update in June, because by the time this update would be happening in June, I won't be in town. I will be in Turkey. So I'm actually going to pick enough palettes to play with for 2 months today. And I'm going to be a little bit strategic because I will be traveling. I'm going to try to pick a few smaller palettes. Let me share with you the palettes I worked on last month. So the first one I have is the Buxom Dolly's Wild Side palette. I really loved this. This was really beautiful. I did use this one 2 times. Now, some of these I didn't get to using twice. Like the majority of the shades. I used them twice, but I may have only used 1 shade out of the palette the second time. But yeah, this was really pretty. It was a great romantic work palette. I really did love it. I think I used all the shades in here at least once. Maybe not this shade because it was really similar to the shade in my Baby Pan That palette that I would typically use in my inner corner, but everything else I used. I really loved it. It's really pretty. So that one's staying. I have a cat hair right here. Next one I have is this little 5-pan palette from ColourPop New Millennium. And I wore, I think, all shades in here. I think I used all shades. Maybe not this shade. Like maybe not TRL. And not because I didn't want to, and maybe not this shade either. Just because it didn't work with the look I was using, and I kind of paired this with the shades I was working on in projects. So I focused on like these shades down here, which it tended to go better. These shades tended to work better with the other shades I'm working on. But this was really pretty. I really enjoyed it. Thought the purples in here worked really well. They blended really well. It was really pretty. I enjoyed it. I mean, it's kind of a monotone palette, so you have that going for it, but it was really pretty. I enjoyed it. So that one's staying. Actually, all of these are staying. They're not going anywhere. Next I have by Odin's Eye the Alva 2 palette. This was really pretty. So here is what this guy looks like. This is what this one looked like. Now, I focused one day on like these blues over here. And I did pretty much a bluish greenish look. And that was way outside my comfort zone. And surprisingly, the second time I used this palette, I actually used the orange. I did. And I think I may have used like this brown down here too, but I specifically went in for the orange. And I don't know what was wrong with me that day, but I used the orange. And I enjoyed it. Who am I? But yeah, I brought this palette in because it was more of a spring palette. And I wanted to play around with these shades here, which I did. So I enjoyed it. It was fun. Not a palette that I would pull like year round, but I did have fun with it. And that was the whole point. So enjoyed it. Won't be going anywhere. Next up is the Too Faced Life's a Festival palette. This is a really fun palette to play around with. Some of these shimmer like toppers are really pretty. I did use like this matte shade, and I think I used Desert Vibes as well as a matte. And then one day I used Dusk Dusk Till Dawn. I may have used Dusk Till Dawn. Now I can't remember. But I used this shimmer and this shimmer here, which is Mystic Rain and Artist Past in one look. Artist Pass in one look. And I want to say I also used Fun in the Sun in a look. And this is just a really fun palette to have for just shimmer shades, like toppers. And I'll just throw some of these on my arm as swatches so you can see. It was just fun to have. I think there was one day where I was like, I need to use this palette. I just threw a couple of these shimmers on. Really pretty. Yep, so this isn't going anywhere. Enjoyed it. Another one of those where I was like, I need to use this palette. This is the time of year to do it. So I wanted to pull it in. And then we have from BH Cosmetics. Oh, before I forget, this was one that I picked by BH Cosmetics, the Zodiac palette. Now this is a pretty big palette, has lots of shadows. I did not use a lot of the shimmers because I have a lot of shimmers in my projects right now. Like my Zodiac project has, Zodiac Painter has like all shimmers. So I've been trying to focus on those, but I did use a lot of the mattes. So I had one look where I focused on the purples down here. And then I had another look where I focused on the neutrals. And they blend really, really well. They're really nice. I think I did use one of the shimmers. I want to say I used Aquarius one day, which is a shade that I normally would not pick. But it kind of went with the look I was wearing. Again, who am I? But these shimmers are really pretty. They're really pretty. If I wasn't working on so many shimmers, I think I would have used them more. But I just have a lot of shimmers going on, so I did not dip into them too much. But this is a really fun palette to play with. Again, the mattes blend out beautifully. So I enjoyed working on this one. And like I said, I did use this one twice. And the last palette that I had, I pulled in 2 palettes myself last month. This was the second one. It's the Sydney Grace and Mel Thompson palette in Tiny Marbles. Did I say that right? The Sydney Grace, Mel Thompson Tiny Marbles palette. Wow. And this is gorgeous. I really loved playing with this. So I did use Mantis that same day that I played around with the Odin's Eye palette with all those blues and greens. I used Mantis. I think it was the same day I did that, or I want to say that was the same day. This is a stunning shade. So the shades in the Odin's Eye palette are sheer. So when you apply them, they go on a bit sheer. This is not sheer. This is a very pigmented shade. Goes on super pigmented. It's beautiful. Beautiful. I mean, Sydney Grace shadows are super pigmented. They go on super strong. I don't know if that's the right terminology, but you know what I mean. I mean, it's like super punchy. And let's see, my favorite color combination is like in this corner here. Oh, it's so pretty. Love Bug, Bugaboo, and Spider. Love it. I also used this one here, which is Flutterbee. And then I did not use this purple down here, which I'm really surprised. But I didn't have a look that it went with. Scarab is stunning. I did use this shimmer here, which is, no, I'm sorry, I used Web. I think I ended up using Web in my inner corner one day. And I did also use this shade down here, which is Marvel. And I think I may have used Meadow Hawk as well, which is this one. Yeah, that is stunning. I loved this palette. It was so much fun to play with. So glad I picked it up. So yeah, those are the 6 palettes I played around with in the last month. Now this update is going up a bit later than normal because I've had 6 to play around with. Took me a little bit longer to rotate through them than I usually would. But that's okay because I'm going to have 2 months between this update and the next update. So I'm going to first, I'm trying to think of how I want to do this. Let me see how many weeks I have left before I leave. I probably have about 6 weeks at home before I would update this project next in July. So I'm going to pull 5 palettes randomly. And let me just see what I get. So I have all of my palettes in a list on Wheel of Names. So that's where I will pull my palettes from. Okay, we're pulling 5. Let's see what we get with 5. I think this is too bright. Okay, Viseart Paris Edit palette. That's the Paris Edit. Number 2. Petite Pro 2 palette. That's fine. I just hit pan in that. But it's a small palette, so it's fine. It's fine. Okay, that's 2. So 2 Viseart palettes so far. Charlotte Tilbury Stars in Your Eyes palette. Okay. That's 3. Number 4 is the Laura Mercier Eye Art Artist palette. Okay. That's 4, right? 4. And then number 5. Ooh, the Tarte Tartlette Juicy palette. Okay, so that's 5. Since we have 2 that are pretty much travel palettes, I can take those traveling with me. I'm going to go ahead and pick one more. The electric palettes. Of course. Okay. Let me go to my list and see what we have. Okay, I'm going to stick with this list, and then I'm probably going to pick 2, but I'm going to pick smaller palettes so that I have them to play around with and travel if I need to. I do have a work trip coming up, but I can take one of these like larger palettes like the Charlotte Tilbury one or the Laura Mercier one if I need to. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and roll one more. I'm just thinking 6 weeks at home, but I have 8 weeks total. Yeah, I'm going to pick one more. Yeah, let's do one more. Okay. Oh, Urban Decay and Kristen Leanne Kaleidoscope Dreams. That's a really interesting palette. Okay, that's good. So we'll do that one, and then I will pick 2 smaller palettes, and I will be right back with all 9 palettes that I'll be working on through like second week of July. Okay, I will be right back. Okay, so I'm just not going in the order that I picked them, but I have 2 Urban Decay palettes. So the first one is this hot mess of a palette. It's the one with Urban Decay and Kristen Leanne. And I think I got this on like big discount, and that's the reason why I have it. But this is the palette that was really not aesthetically pleasing to look at, and it has a brush. I'm just going to pop that out. But yeah, this is what this one looks like. So the shades in here are what's interesting. I think they're all shimmery except for the black and this orangey shade. I think even this purple is a shimmer. Yeah. But these are really, I mean, they're really pretty shimmery shades. Oh, that purple is really bad. Let's see. Maybe it's better over a tacky base. But the blues look nice. The pink looks nice. Anyway, those are the pretty summer shades. Let's try this lime green. What does that look like? That is a hot mess of a purple. That purple is a mess. The green is nice, but... And I don't know what this thing in the middle is. I'm just mixing them together. Oh, well, that's crumbly. Oh, it's like a duo. It's pretty. It's like a duochrome. It's white. I mean, is that supposed to be like a topper? I don't know. We'll see. So that is that palette. Next up, we have the original Urban Decay Electric palette. I did not get rid of this. I think some people did. And the replacement for this, from what I understand, is not that great. This is another great summer palette. Great, awesome. So you can tell this has not gotten a ton of love. So I'm really excited that this has been pulled in so I can play with it because, ooh, fun. Fun shades for summer. Yeah, that'll be great for summer. Oh, that'll be fun. I'm excited. And I didn't even have to pick it. That is the Urban Decay Electric palette. Exciting. Next up, we have the Tarte Tartlette Juicy palette. And my Alex stores gouged a whatever. This is beautiful. I was really excited when I saw this come out. I can't really see because there we go. I think this is really pretty. I love the rosy side, like the rosy section of this. I actually think this would be really pretty to travel with because there's a lot of options. I think it's a great, like, everyday color story. There's, you know, there's warm tones, there's rosy tones. I love wearing pink eyeshadow, especially in the summer. I know some people don't like it, but I love it. I'm less interested in copper because I don't think copper looks that great on me. And that's the pink leaning into the warm section. Oh, I love it. Love it. But, you know, I bought this palette and then did I play with it? No. So excited whenever it came out. Oh, it's so pretty. So there's the rest of it. It's gorgeous. I am very excited to play with this. So that is the Tartlette Juicy palette, which, love it. Okay, hopefully the formula is nice. It seems really nice. Next up, we have the Laura Mercier Eye Art Artists palette. I found this at TJ Maxx, and when I saw it there, I snatched it up because I always heard great things, and then I think they discontinued this. I can't get it open. And it is so my color story. So my color story. Now, this is almost all mattes. I think there may be like satins. There's not a lot of like traditional shimmers. Yeah, this discontinued before I got my hands on it. I was like, oh, I'll eventually pick that up, and then it was gone. And then I saw it at TJ Maxx, and so I snatched it up. It's really, really nice. There we go. Look at that. Look at that pink. Anyway, there we go. Look how bad my swatches are down there. It's really pretty. It's probably a bit more fall because of the purples, but it's gorgeous. I can, you know, add some bright purple to the lid and try to summer it up a little bit. Next, we have by Charlotte Tilbury, the Stars in Your Eyes palette. And this was a holiday palette, I think. And I've barely touched this. I think I swatched it and played around with it a little bit, but that's it. So it has these like little trios, which are supposed to go together, but I mean, I would dip around in here. I heard such great things about this palette, and I did like the color story. I didn't like the second palette as much, so I didn't pick that one up, but I liked this one. So there's that palette. It's really pretty. So you have some neutral, warm, and then purples down there. And I think this is like slender enough, it's skinny enough where this could be a good one to travel with. And there's some easy shades to wear. Okay, the last palette that was chosen for me is by Viseart. This is the Paris Edit palette. And this is what this one looks like. This would be a really nice one to travel with. And there are 16 shades in here. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think 4 mattes. And then I think this is a matte with maybe some shimmer in here. I love Viseart's formula. It's really hard to mess up a look with Viseart shadows. So what's great about this formula is you can, especially whenever you're traveling, you can do a really fast eye look with it, which I think is great for whenever you're just in a rush to throw it on your eyes. And that's the Paris. That's so pretty. So pretty. Yeah. I love that. Now for the 2 palettes that I chose. Now I did want to pick 2 that I could travel with if I decided to take them with me. Now this, like I said, this could be a travel palette. I feel like could be a travel palette with how skinny it is. And of course I am going to take, I feel like some potential travel. I have my Charlotte Tilbury palette that I'm working on in my Throwback 30. Ziggy's back there. But I did pick 2 other ones, and one is another Viseart palette. This one is another 16 pan palette, and it's the Rosé Edit. And this is also beautiful. It has some brighter tones in here, and I think this is also very beautiful. Let's see how many mattes are in here. 6 mattes. I think there are more mattes in here than the other one. So there is the Rosé Edit. I'm excited to play around with these Viseart palettes. Oh, I'm sorry. There's one more I forgot to grab. I forgot to grab this one. I'll swatch this one in a minute. The next one I grabbed is by Huda. This is the Huda Beauty Nude Light palette. I figured this is another one that's easy to throw on. So here is the palette. And this has, 5 mattes. I've contemplated getting the dark, I don't even know if she makes this line anymore. I can't remember. But I've wanted to get the light version of this. I'm not going to swatch the cream. What's the point? But I never pulled the trigger. So there's the shadows there. Whoops. So I figured this is another one that's really easy to travel with. So pretty. So there we go. That's the other one I picked. All right, I totally forgot to grab this one, which is the Viseart Petite Pro 2. So here is the Viseart Petite Pro 2. I did hit pan in the purple. Here we go, the purple. And the mattes are really, they don't swatch the best. I'm just warning you. I know for a fact that purple matte swatches like crapola. Anytime I would swatch it during my pan in every palette video, I'd have to use a brush. But I'm not going to do that today. I mean, look at this. It's terrible. It's bad. But it went on the eyes really beautifully. I know for a fact this palette, the mattes in this palette are not the best. The shimmers are really nice, but look at this matte. It's so bad. But it performed really well, but that's the palette there. I probably will not travel with this one. So those are the 9 palettes that I pulled. Is that right? Yeah. 9 palettes. Between now and early second week of July. Those are the ones I have to play with. So I think that gives me plenty. Now, if there's one that I don't end up playing with, I'll roll it over into August. So I'm not going to force myself to play with all of these. If I miss one, it'll get rolled over. But I am going to try to use the smaller ones because those are really appropriate for just kind of what I've got going on this summer. And I do want to use these bright, summery palettes. But anyway, that is going to be it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you are doing well and staying safe. Please hit that subscribe button and I'll see y'all next time. Bye. I'm here. Every time I get up, he's like, where'd you go? Hi. Look at his ears. Hey. We had Ziggy for a hot minute, and then he disappeared. By BH Cosmetics. Wow. This was one that was randomly selected for me by... Next up, we have the not Lancome. Next up, we have the La Mercier, or I had originally, okay, bye.